Yep. Yes.
So I don't have to either turn the volume up or stick this down my throat. I don't think I can talk.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No.
No.
I don't think it's in the.
Is that any better?
Oh, yeah.
Is that too loud?
No.
Just keep me away.
Are you saying I'm boring?
No.
Well, welcome to River Valley Beekeepers Association. For those that don't know me, I'm Ron Schwartz. I'm the president of the association, and I welcome you. Glad you're here. Before I introduce our speaker tonight, I just want to talk a little bit about, maybe give a few people a chance to ask questions about their bees. I know we probably have some new beekeepers here that got new since the last time we met. I would talk about the beekeeper's calendar, but pretty much the calendar is the nectar flow right now, or in my case, in my bees, is the tail end of the nectar flow. Now John down here claimed it's just going great guns at his house, but I don't know, I'm gonna have to move my bees to his house. Even though it's about 2 miles away, mine are not. But anyway, they have been doing very well, very well. So, anybody got a burning question about that they just need an answer to right now?
I do. How come I'm losing so many bees?
I can't hear her.
How come I'm losing so many bees?
How come, the
Like
question is, how come I'm
They're
losing?
dead on the
That's
ground.
probably not enough information to answer the
Yeah.
question.
Somebody may be poisoning around. Are you seeing them on the ground kind of quivering before
No,
they
they're
die?
just dead.
How many? Like tons, lots, or 100?
Couple thousand.
Wow. That's a problem.
They're just,
She only lives
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
maybe that's it, I just haven't seen that many this time of year.
Sounds like pesticide.
got into something.
Well, it's possible, he does use it sometimes.
Yeah, so there's any number of reasons for that one would probably have to kind of see and do some more research. That it's really too open-ended of a
I
question.
cleaned off I weeded around it, cleaned it all off, so I can tell what my volume is. Cause I was wanting to know.
You know, a robbing situation can result in that, but this time of year, it shouldn't be a problem just yet. With robbing, with a good nectar flow, that there's really still enough nectar that I don't see that being a problem, but, that really might be something we'd have to look into some more, and sometimes you just never
There's
know.
like, I've got 4 new swarms, but even the other ones,
I don't know.
Is it affecting all your hives?
Do you have like agriculture around, like soybeans or,
No, we raise cows.
I'm talking row crops?
He hadn't sprayed for any bugs, I mean, he sprayed some of the fence rows and stuff.
Well, understand your bees will fly miles, so,
No,
draw about a 3-mile circle around your house, which is a long ways. And,
not that I can think of.
but,
Would the people like Mosquito Joe, would that affect the bees?
I would think so.
But I see a lot of, Mosquito Joe, little signs in lots of houses around,
I think pretty much everything kills bees.
Yeah.
And I live out in the country, I live half a mile off the road, that means it shouldn't be that, it should be.
Well, if you've got a big pasture that they're spraying, or crops that they're spraying with them, like Tom said within 3 miles.
He had, my husband has not sprayed any.
Well, it's not talking about you, it's talking about any of your neighbors.
Everybody else does here. We do more spraying than anything, and it's for herbicides, not.
Well, of
That-
course,
that does.
herbicides will do it too, cause, you
Well,
know,
that may be what it is, cause he has done some test runs.
I know the county is, they're pretty active right now spraying the ditches with whatever that stuff is that they spray that is, it's like scorched earth. And I noticed my ditches, they go through there and kill all this nice clover and if you got a bunch of bees working something that they're spraying, you know, even though it's not an insecticide, it could be, you know, you pinch a bee with a bunch of Roundup and I'm thinking that's probably gonna kill them.
Okay, that may be good, he has sprayed some of that.
But anyway, any other questions maybe that we could answer?
He may be the culprit. Yeah. From within, it's happening. Don't hurt him.
Anyway,
I got one.
Okay.
I don't know, I know it's not right now, but since I'm running a medium and a deep for my brood body, how and when do I start flipping those? I know this is a down the road type question, but
You know, would you, I missed a little bit of that, I don't hear very good, so say it again.
I'm running a deep and a
Deep and
medium
medium.
for my brood box.
Uh-huh.
And I know that some folks, when they use the double deeps, they'll flip them. I've read where there's some people doing that with that medium and deep, but I haven't seen anybody do that.
Normally, and John will correct me if I'm wrong, that is done early in the spring. So what happens there right now, probably both of those boxes have brood in.
Yeah.
Okay, but as, you know, when you get into winter, the bees will tend to work their way up into the hive, and so by the end of the winter, most of your bees are gonna be in the top box. Bottom box will be empty. And so what a lot of people will do then, like early spring, they will take that, reverse them, so that will start using that bottom box. They don't like to go down, they like to go up. And so that's why people do that, so that's normally done in the very early spring. I'm talking March.
That's just a once in season thing.
Yeah. Would that sound right, John? John likes it. Good question. Did anybody understand the question? I didn't repeat it. Okay. All right then, tonight, with all this honey that the bees are making, some of us are hopefully will have some excess honey that we would want to market and to sell and maybe try to recoup some of our investment. And so Olivia is going to talk to us about some of the ins and outs of that. There are, depending on how you sell it or how you go about it, there are requirements and stuff that you have to do as far as labeling and so forth. And so Olivia has been kind enough to research that out and is going to talk to us about it. Yay, Olivia.
How do I talk with my hands. Okay. This is not gonna work. Hold on, y'all. In hindsight, I should have done this before, but we're doing it now. Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Olivia Johnson. I am our secretary, and I am also a marketing student at Arkansas Tech. I run my own business. I sell pickles and jalapenos and all that fun stuff. And so I've been learning about like requirements for the state, and also I've been doing a lot of marketing and markets. So I wanted to share what I've learned and like the requirements for selling honey, because there's quite a few. So the first we're going to talk about is labeling your honey. So all of these guidelines I got from the University of Arkansas. There are 2 screens right here if y'all need any visuals. So I think there's 5 or 6 guidelines for your labeling. Yeah, this was also from the University of Arkansas. So the first thing you need, first and foremost, you need to have your name, whether it's just like your name, you can put Olivia Johnson, or if you have like named your little business, even if it's not registered, you put that on there, along with the address where you're producing your honey and a phone number. That should, I believe, should align with your like BR, what your BR is. And then you need to have your product name. That can just be honey. It could be, why are you giving me that one? Nothing? Okay. My dad. Or if it's like specialized honey, like clover honey or wildflower honey, you need to put that on there. Or if it has add-ins like honeycomb, just clearly labeled what it is. And then you also need to have your net weight. You need to have it in pounds or ounces, and also the metric system. I don't know why, but you need to have both. And then there's a really long statement that I will read out for you in a second that pretty much says, here, I'll just read it out for you. This product was produced in a private residence that is exempt from state licensing and inspections. This product may contain allergens. This is on, if you look up Arkansas honey labeling, you can find this statement very easily, but anything you make, not just honey, products like this, you need to have this statement on there. And then finally, you need to have the date of production. So there are a few different ways you can make your labels, and I'm actually. So, John actually has some handy dandy products we can promote for him today. So first and foremost, John doesn't sell these, but they're Avery labels. They sell them at Staples or other office supply stores. Honestly, I only recommend these if you get the easy peel option. Because if not, if you're like me, you could just sit and scrub and scrub and scrub, and there's still film after a very long time. So make sure no matter what label you get the easy peel or the dissolving option. Otherwise, you'll struggle. So they have on their labels, they have a website you go to, and you design your labels, and then you print them out very easily just on it's a normal piece of paper. It shows you how to load it in, all that fun stuff. There's instructions on the back. And then whenever you're done, you peel them off and you have labels like this. You can also go to any beekeeping warehouse and buy these labels where you just fill it out by hand. Or can you print on this? You can also print on these. So they're say honey, so they already have part of it done for you. John also, he also sells, thank you, the really long statement that you have to have pre-made for you. And also, this is not necessary, but it's just kind of like a courtesy. Little labels that say do not feed infants under 1 year of age. So, there aren't very many steps to labeling these, but if you're going to sell honey or any products similar, you have to have these on there, otherwise you can get in trouble. So, any questions before? I'm more of a questions on the slide person than a questions on the end person, so.
Can you post that or?
Yes, everything that I post, I always post a video of the meeting, and then in the description, and also I'll post it on the Facebook page. I'll post the presentation and then like the big giant document that the University of Arkansas made, because it's very in-depth. This is just a very small part. Thank you. And yeah.
I have one, it's not really a question, but we found that we use for labels, it's a water soluble label.
Yes.
Those are fantastic, because we do a lot with our raw milk and with our jams.
Is it an Avery label?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank
It's
you.
great.
So, yeah. So the same Avery, he was saying the same company called Avery makes water soluble. Yeah, make sure. I get good stuff. Good stuff that's easy to peel.
I have a comment, Gregory, correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you don't like putting your name or your address and phone number on the label, you can go to the, I guess it's the Department of Agriculture, and you can register. Basically, you give all them that information, and then you get back a number or an ID, and then you can just put that ID on there and so that you can be tracked back, the honey product can be tracked back to you, but you don't have to plaster it on every box.
Do I need to repeat that?
Olivia, we found that very worthwhile because
Okay, that's
we
good.
have a 800-foot driveway behind a bunch of trees, and every now and then we have somebody showing up for a $7 bottle of honey. So once, and that really was just came up, that opportunity, when they did this, July 28, 2021, the Food Freedom Act. And that's where you got that from, Dr. Z too. And then one other comment that's not required, but what we like to put on our honey, on our liquid honey, is the thing about granulation. If it granulates, you know, hot water, et cetera, because so many people don't know that. And then I also like to tell them, if it's raw and filtered honey, the granulation is more apt to happen than that stuff you buy in the store.
Yes.
And so you know you have some better honey than.
Yes.
Right.
I have a question, since you brought up filtered,
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of people run it through that filter, is that classified as filtered?
You're talking about the screen,
Yeah,
right?
the screen, yeah.
What's the
Screen.
question? We can't say what
He was asking, he's seen people who run it through the like filters, and he wanted to know if that classified as filtered, but it's actually classified as straight.
Right.
Okay. This is my first year, this is our second year, and this is our first year doing honey. So I have done all the research, but I cannot tell you the practicality of it, okay? So if you ask questions, somebody else can answer.
And I think you did a good job, we strain our honey, it is filtered, it means something specific,
Mhm.
which, you know.
Takes out too much.
It takes out basically everything that people like to buy local raw honey for the stuff, the pollen and stuff like that that's in it. And if you filter it, that's gone. And so that's deliberate that we don't filter it. Plus, it's really hard to do. You gotta heat it up and force it through something.
If you heat it up, you run it.
I tell people I just strain it enough to get to be like that.
Another thing, and Olivia was right when she said to you, net weight, but do realize and help your customers know, that's the weight of the honey alone, it's not the container. That's different than when you buy jams or jellies or other things, you know. And I think people appreciate knowing some of those things that you then can share with them.
On the labels, if people are interested in doing their own labels so that they look different, there's print houses. One is Got Print, and you can set up the file, send them the file, and you can get your labels printed on a roll. And the roll gets back to you, you just peel it off, put it on. It's pretty efficient.
Or you hope a local student who has a thermal printer. They can give it to you at a discounted price.
Would that be you?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but I do, if anybody needs like labels made quickly, I do have a label printer and I can help you with that.
Or a teacher that knows how to do it.
Or a teacher, yes. Yes, there are lots of people, you'd be surprised at how many people have label printers or thermal printers, or, so if you just post in the group, somebody will help you. Okay, so any other questions about labeling before we move on? If you have any questions later, I have a little slide that we can stop at. Okay, so next is selling your honey. So the hardest thing that I've found that people struggle with is pricing. It's very difficult for people to come up with prices, no matter what you're making. So I've kind of come up with a few tips that I've learned through like my classes and then also that are bee related. So the first thing you want to do is research your competitors. You want to look at the local level because there are a lot of honey farms around here that you can look at and see what their prices are. Also, be subtle but scout out like local markets. And then also the USDA, I learned posts monthly national statistics for honey and beekeeping that you can look up. You can just look up USDA month 2023 bee statistics, and they have a whole report that they put out, kind of hard to read, but they do have it. Then you also want to look at how much are you spending on your jars, how much you're spending on your equipment. What I do, equipment is kind of hard, but for jars, you take how much you pay divided how many jars you have, and then you add that onto your price. Hold on. Okay, and then you also want to account for your additions. So, do you have honeycomb? Is it a specialty? If you do, you also want to add that onto your price. You want to charge what you want. Don't feel bad if you think you're charging too much, okay? Honey or non-essential goods are not essential. So, you can price what you want. If you aren't selling, put it down. If you're selling, put it up. See what prices work for you. Yeah, I've learned the hard way that I'm not charging enough for my products, so I have to change my prices. Yeah. Any questions about that? I feel like some people who have more experience with this could.
What's the going price people are charging for a pint?
For a pint, it's anywhere from like $5 to $10. Yeah.
13.
Yeah. 5 to 10 is on the lower scale.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Lordy, man, I'm giving money.
Yeah. I'm selling these for $5 and I'm realizing I'm kind of underselling myself here. Oh yeah. Yeah. I sell a lot, but yeah, exactly.
What'd you say you're selling?
These 5.
What are they?
These are jalapenos. So, yeah, I realized that when somebody came up to me and said, "Honey, you're selling these for too low," and I said, "Okay, then." Yeah, so I would do at least start 10 is like your starting point, and then when you have like your clover honey and that honey that everybody around here hates but everybody else loves, this sticky honey, goldenrod honey. Goldenrod will sell well if you sell out of Arkansas. Out of Arkansas. Nobody in Arkansas loves it, but everybody else who doesn't have goldenrod year round loves it. Because it kind of
I
smells.
have a customer that loves the stuff, and so he gets it all.
Yeah.
I wonder if goldenrod tastes different in other areas.
Yeah.
Because I can't see people can say they love it.
So if you're selling a quart, some people are selling them for at least $25 to $30. So honey, people really want local honey. And like I said, it's not essential, so you can charge a lot for it, and people will buy it because it's such a popular thing to sell, especially right now because of allergies and all that. Okay. This is kind of where I thrive because I have been doing a lot of this lately. So there are a few different ways to sell. The first thing is you can just sell at your house. If you're going to be home, can somebody hold up, or can you still hold up the honey for sale? We're going to promote John again. He sells honey for sale yard signs. So you can stick that one out front, tell people to come to your house. Well, come to your front porch and you can sell to them. Or you can set up a little booth where it's kind of like a,
Lemonade stand.
yes, but like you don't have to be manned at it. What, honor system. Honor system. A honor system Don't do an honor system. So take your grandkids out there, okay?
I have a comment. This little hat, I have sold a lot of honey by wearing this hat. See that? So you have these? I said, yeah, you sell your honey? I said, yes, sir do. And just since I got that, so it's.
Oh, wow.
Beekeeping hats can also be found at your local dollar store. Yes.
So talking about the honor system, that's kind of funny because up by just a little bit south of Damascus, Arkansas, on Highway 65, is a sign out on the highway says honey, and it is a honor system honey sales place. The man that makes the honey, his name is Sonny Chittister. He's our mentor, so we know about him. And that store has been there forever. So when we see people at the farmer's market, or someplace we're selling honey, they'll kind of talk about it a little bit, then they'll say, oh yeah, I go beside the road over there by Greenbrier. No, it's up by DeMat. Oh yeah, it's DeMat. And they'll, I think we know the lady that operates it, this guy doesn't live there, he just puts the honey there. And I don't think they lose any money. I think who in the world is gonna fool around for a $20 jar of honey? Come on. So anyway, it's interesting.
And it may just be where we live, but yeah, depending on where you live, the honor system can be really well, do really well, or do really bad. So that's up to you. But yeah, set up like there are people in Atkins who set up. They're there every Saturday at their house, and you know to go there on Saturdays. So you can start that. Posting on local Facebook groups, which we'll go into. You can sell from home very easily, and then also. Farmers markets and events are very common in Arkansas. They're like your best place to sell. I know from experience there are a lot, and you can sign up kind of relatively inexpensive. Some places do charge more for a booth, but if they're charging more for a booth and they've been doing it for a long time, yes, like I did the Flair Fair, and there were a lot of people coming through, and it was kind of on the more expensive side, but I made my money back very quickly. So you really need to do your research on who you're going to be working with and making sure you're not signing up for a scam. You do kind of run into that. It's also a great way to promote your products. And you can find them by A, asking around with your local beekeepers, and B, there are Facebook pages. You can type in Arkansas Craft Fair or Arkansas Farmers Market and join them, and it's a very large community of people who just post the markets they're doing, markets they recommend, things like that. There's a great community around here that will help you if you need help. I can help you to the best of my ability. But yeah, your main places to sell are going to be your farmers markets and just buy your home. So, yes.
One of the things that Arkansas Food Freedom Act opened up was internet sales.
Yes.
Have anybody done that yet with your honey
Not with my honey.
and shipping? And I'm wondering how that worked.
So, I believe with the Freedom Act, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're going to sell out of the state, you also need to make sure that the state you're selling to allows it.
Right.
So you need to go through each state and make sure that they allow, and within their state, canned goods and honey. But yeah, you can. It's kind of tedious to set up, but packaging it is really just gotten more active now. And I believe there are boxes that are made especially for shipping glasses and like glass canned goods and stuff like that. But yeah, you can sell through the internet. It's just if you want to go through that, maybe we could do a class on that. I don't know. If y'all would be interested in that, that could be one of our classes that we do this.
People click buy.
Yes, yes. And even if you have it set up through Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace actually would be a great way to post it and say I'm selling this.
Another one too.
Sell out of state, sometimes you've got to worry about sales tax.
Yeah, same sales tax. You also have to look into that. Yeah, if you're gonna do that, you need somebody who knows how to. If you don't. Yes, tax.
You sell in-state online, you gotta pay tax.
Yes, you do, but normally in-state is a lot easier to deal with for the most part than selling out of state, because you also have, if you're selling out of state, you also have to pay in-state taxes. So.
They have like a honey equivalent of a CSA.
Is there a honey equivalent of a CSA?
What's the question?
Is there a honey equivalent of a CSA?
What's the CSA?
Community shared agriculture.
Community shared agriculture.
It also goes by a herd share if you're selling raw milk, or basically if you're a market gardener, you can do a CSA and you have members who pay you in advance and they get packages from you. You get your money before your product is delivered in earnest. Yeah.
I didn't realize that's what he was referring to, but I believe that would be something like in our area, there's something called Conway Locally Grown. And actually, I think it's run out of Marshall, Arkansas. But for instance, you order something online and then you pick it up on Friday. And then there's other things like you're gonna say, I'll take $25 worth of whatever's available. I think, yes, there are some of those things. What I wanted to mention, and I don't have the state law to tell you, but honey does not, you do not have to pay or charge sales tax on honey if you, the beekeeper, are selling it to the consumer. You do?
Garden, home,
That's-
anything.
That's right, and that's what I really thought he was referring to there, yeah. If you're part of that, and that's why at farmers markets and whatnot. Now realize I said sales tax, you know, not income tax, that you take care of later on, but yeah, sales tax.
I've been doing the markets, I've been going too wrong.
You've been doing what, I'm sorry?
I said, I've been doing the markets, I've been going too wrong.
And
Like
some,
paying taxes.
some markets, you know, you need to probably talk to, but how they're set up. But if you sell to anybody, you don't have to worry about that, like basically home farms, and that would include, truck patches and bees and all that. You don't have to sign up, but the market may be set up to where you have to, so you need to talk to them.
Like the flare thing that you did, that's more of a, it's not a farmer's market. That is a,
Craft market, but yes.
so that one, you have to pay taxes on it. They have to collect it from you and pay the taxes, right?
Unless you have your own number.
Unless you have your own number,
Right,
yes,
but that's an event.
yes,
If it's an event, you have to pay taxes.
Yes.
If it's not an event, you don't have to pay.
okay, yes,
That's what it is.
okay, that makes sense.
Does anybody in this group, use
Not
that
always.
Russellville community market?
Does anybody use the Russellville Community Market
You can sell your honey?
to sell?
Yeah.
Just a Mo does. Okay, anything else? Okay. So, setting up a booth. Your first thing is you wanna have clear signage. You wanna have your prices and contact information clearly stated. You're still gonna have people that look right at the sign and say, how much does this cost? But it's very important that you have that there. You also, if you're going to have a card reader, you need to have clearly displayed that you only use a card reader for a certain amount or that you charge a percentage. Anything like that, you need to have that clearly stated so people don't get mad at you. Another thing is you need to use buzzwords. Get it? Buzzwords? I have to wait and tell this joke all night. So, people really care about organic, if it's local, if it's fresh. You need to have that listed because it will catch people's eyes and they'll come to you, or it's just,
What is the requirement for sales, okay?
there's really not. From what I understand, it's kind of, anything you want to be organic is organic, like this computer is organic kind of thing. There's
Definitely not. No, there's a lot of.
And honeybee, I don't know if it,
I don't think you can because
Yeah,
it makes
honey's not regulated by.
With
Okay,
honey,
doesn't it-
I think it's almost impossible to, at least for a technical definition, there is a technical definition for what stuff has to be called organic. And with the way honeybees operate, you don't really know where they're getting the nectar. And
okay.
it's almost impossible to say that. I probably would not put organic on
I
there.
thought honey wasn't regulated yet.
Organic
I
is
agree with
regulated.
Ron on that.
Yes, but there was
And-
things.
Someone else speaking, I'm sorry. Okay, what we learned many years ago, we've only been at this 9 years, but many years ago, and I think it was John Z that told us in a class that we took, that to call your honey organic, you have to be able to prove that for 5 miles around your property, for at least 5 years, people had not used any pesticides, herbicides, that kind of thing. And so
Not
it's
organic.
really- It's really, like Ron says, about impossible.
Yeah.
Now, do you see it? Yes, you see it every day, and we say organic on lots of things, but on honey too. But I think he's right, it's not.
If you use organic, don't get caught. And organic in general is very, I meant to change that organic from, natural, but, yeah. Organic in general is very,
Natural raw.
yeah, all natural,
Fresh.
yes, fresh. Use words that people can go, oh, you know, that would be good for me, that's good for me. Natural, yes. Can we, I think raw is also kind of,
Legs and everything else.
yeah.
Now, right now, as far as February of this year, the USDA has no regulations, because they haven't defined organic honey yet.
Yes.
Now, so legally, you could use it, but you would have the potential of having to change your label
Mhm.
if, once they finally make that, because it probably won't be in the announcement. Same thing with natural, because you can get naturally certified, which is a whole lot easier certification to get, because it's peer approved. Which means if I wanna say my stuff's natural, I didn't get Ron or some of you guys to come and look at it and stamp it that, yes, this is naturally processed, or whatever, how you wanna say it. But yeah, so that's the benefit to the natural, but again, the USDA hasn't defined either of those terms yet. So you can use that at your own risk.
Yeah.
How about calorie free or diet?
We're going for it. I don't know.
When you pass that one, I'm gonna see it.
We got special honey over here, special bees at this table.
Yeah, and also be wary of
Skinny
special depending on what county you are, or what state you're in, because special can,
Yeah.
you know, you may get a call from the police on that one. Just speaking from seeing like horror stories that people like, yeah, no. Oh, yeah, okay, so whenever you're displaying stuff, you kind of want to have, and you can see over the pictures where they have really like big signage, and then also, this booth up here is kind of intense for layers, but you kind of want to have like layers, visually. You kind of want to avoid having everything entirely flat. Even if you have signs that are stick up higher, have that, because people are more likely to walk up and like engage with your booth if you have points of contact with your eyes. I don't remember the official word. I've been out of school for a month, but so people, it's more than just flat. There's places for you to go, and it'll attract kids to your booth if you have kind of stuff. I learned if you have things that attract kids, the parents will come and buy things. So, yes, have something there that kids will interact with.
Yeah, because they'll play while mama's shopping.
Yes, exactly. We had my little sister has a little dog. She sells dog collars, and mom came up and was watching because the kid was playing with the little dog she had, but then the dog got stolen, so we had to go get the dog. So also be aware of that. It wasn't. He didn't actually run off with it, but the kid was taking the dog home in his mind. So. Any advice for anybody who has been like selling at markets? This is the advice that I've kind of come up with while I've been working like at markets, just learning curves. But
I haven't been doing honey, but I've been doing produce for years. And to me, the number one buzzword is Arkansas.
yes,
If you just say it comes from Arkansas, whether you're talking about tomatoes, okra, honey, it doesn't matter. Just let people know it's local.
yes, definitely. Wherever, well, we're in Arkansas, but whatever state you're in, if it's from a certain state, put that it's from that state because yes.
Okay, a couple of things that I've just noticed selling honey. I don't work at it very hard, but I keep a spreadsheet of who I sell honey to, when they bought it, how much they bought, and occasionally I'll look through there and say, well, this person usually buys 2 quarts every 3 months, and it's been 3 months, and they haven't called. So I'll call them up and say, hey, you should have got out of honey, you need some more. And, oh yeah, I just keep reading out the, so that kind of helps move a little bit. I also, I don't do this, but, because I don't wanna work at selling it so much, I kinda sell it in bulk, but, at one of the state, beekeeper conventions that they have, there's a guy one of the speakers is a guy from Florida. And what he was talking about was this very thing. And, he sells, I mean, he's got a big operation, that's his full-time job. And he sells all of his honey in little bitty containers, probably no bigger than this. And he says, I do that, I just talk to little bears. Like, I don't understand why people would sell honey in something that looks like a bear, because bears and honey don't go together. But basically, he says you can charge a whole lot more per ounce the smaller you sell. You know, especially, like you said, you go to a farmer's market or a fair or something like that, and it's kind of like a novelty item, you know, they may never consume the honey, but they will still buy it.
Another thing that helps you sell it too is word of mouth. You make a good impression with somebody, don't pass it on, keep it going. That's why I sell most of mine, is word of mouth. Never have to put it in marketplace, it just goes through pages.
Yeah.
Especially when I work in bees too, they find out of the honey, they tell their friends, there's kids still.
I also recommend making business cards, nothing like too fancy, something that you make at home, just so people have your contact information outside of having your information on the jar. I also recommend making a Facebook page. It doesn't have to be something you maintain all the time, just so you tell people to follow you, and then you can say, you can post on Facebook Marketplace. You can post when you're going to be at events, and that's also a good way to communicate with people through Messenger. It's just a great word of mouth tool. Again, it doesn't have to be something that you maintain really intensely, but just to have that so people can contact you. Okay, anything else before? Okay, so anybody have any general questions at all?
I got one more thing I could just share with you. It's, if you're looking for something to dress up your honey, the way you sell it, and something to entertain the kids when they come up to your booth, there's a thing called the nationalhoneyboard.com. That's on the thing they call the internet. If you go there, they will give you free, once a year, a bunch of stuff. They'll give you pads of probably about 5 different things that have to do with bees and honey and flowers. And they're great what you call them a tear sheet. They amp it and tear them off, hand it to the kid, give him a pencil, now he's got a little something to do while you're there. They also include, for free, rolled up stickers that come with a honey theme. Might have a stylized bee or a little skep hive or something on there. All these, and we stick those on our bags. So when it goes out of there, they know they got, and that stuff just comes free. You're allowed to do that once a year and order, I guess, whatever you want. We've done it 4 or 5 years now, and that's our little add-on stuff. It's especially effective with the kids because you can entertain a kid for a minute, you hand them a piece of paper, now mom can buy some honey. Your kid got something to do that looks like it might be educational. People appreciate knowing a little something that you know that they didn't know. You know, like bees cover 18,000 acres.
What's the website?
It's called nationalhoneyboard.com.
I think you can even get to it just with honey.com. You also can get things that you hang on your jar, and it'll be with some recipes and things like that, and so stuff for mom, and, some magnets and whatnot, and there's a few things that there's some limits on, but like these kid things that they're on like a 3rd grade level, basically, and they come 50 to a pack, and you pay like $9.95 for shipping once a year.
That's great.
Thank you.
Ron kind of stole my thunder, so I had a question Okay, well, that's all I have. So we need to do anything else before we do it?
Thank you.
I just remembered that I have a question. I couldn't think of it, but do you have to buy new jars to put the honey in, or like I'm a canner, so I have lots and lots of jars. Can I use the jars I have, or do I have to buy new ones?
Yeah, I believe if you sanitize them.
Yeah, you can use
Yeah.
own jars, you got 'em.
Just put them through the sanitized wash on your dishwasher, you're good, that's what I do.
I'll tell you what I do is, one is, if you're gonna put a label on it, you really need a slick, at least one side's gotta be smooth. A lot of canning jars are not. And personally, you know, I have people that will return the jars. I really kinda don't encourage that because it's really more trouble than it's worth. But I do it just because they don't wanna waste the jars. And, but I absolutely do not reuse a jar that I don't know the history of. Like if somebody's got a bunch of jars and here, you can all these put honey in them, I say, well, thank you, and I just pitch them out the back door, or I sanitize them and use them myself for canning, but I'm, you know, the people that I sell honey to, you know, I don't want to jeopardize, you know, a customer for the sake of $1 jar, and, so, that's just what I do. Yeah.
And always, my opinion is always use new lids and.
And that's, I do that too, I never reuse a lid, never. Unless it's mine, I mean, that I consume myself. Anyway, again, well, thank you, Olivia, thank you very much. I know how much work goes into doing something like this, and appreciate good information and appreciate the good discussion. Just a little bit about what I got coming up. Programs are, I know people like them, and I try to get programs, but Olivia just volunteered this one, so that's great. I'm planning on trying to get James Ryan back this summer sometime, probably July or August. And he, the idea is to have him talk to us about how to do bee trap outs, like trapping bees out of structures. I think that would be a good thing, a service for people, for us to do, because to some degree, you know, bees in structures are kind of our fault. You know, that'd be us raising bees, and when our swarms get away from us and they end up in your neighbor's house, you know, it's kind of, you know, I never admit to that to anybody but you guys.
That was a wild swarm.
Yeah. What I tell them is this John's bee. But anyway, I'm interested in learning that, and I think maybe some of you would too, because I have people contact me time to time. I got bees in my building, what do I do? And I usually go like, call somebody else. And I don't like to do that because, you know, if we want to have bees, we really got to keep our, you know, there's some public relations, you know, that goes on, because they do, you know, having bees in a structure is not good. Getting stung by bees is not good. So, you know, we just can't ignore the public relations aspect of it. So, anyway, I think and James is always very knowledgeable and fun to listen to, stuff like that. So, hopefully that will come together and we'll be able to do that this summer sometime. Any other questions before we go into our door prize drawing?
I can make a correction.
Correction.
The correction is, do not enter nationalhoneyboard.com. Enter, everybody remember this, it's easy, honey.com.
Honey.com.
That will go to the National Honey Board and all that stuff I was talking about, so simply honey.com.
Honey.com.
Thank you, get the correction.
All right, are we ready for our door prizes? We got a drawer. Is that Corey's job?
How your bees doing this year, Cora?
Good.
Make me read these things, huh? Heather Gadberry. Oh,
You don't take advice.
You can pick from your, from the things on the back there, for the front. So we draw until we're out of stuff. And you just pick what you want back there, whatever's left. Terry Bartholomew.